What's your name and where are you from?
My name is Carolyn Flemming, and I am from Wilmington, Delaware, north side of Wilmington, Delaware.
What's your favorite memory from childhood?
My favorite childhood memory would be growing up on 26 and Madison on Sundays, where cousins, play cousins, neighborhood cousins all got on the block and we ate at my grandmother Francis um, Sunday dinner, and then got outside and relay races, double dutching, um, boys across the street rapping, battling, and it just felt like I was safe, and I had community, and I had family who truly cared and loved me. So I always carry that when I even ride past that block to this day, that I miss that time of togetherness. My grandma Frances kept everybody in tow. So those Sunday dinners where everybody got together on that block and we just ran amok, I think those are my favorite memories of all.
As a 16-year-old, what was one of your goals and where did you see yourself?
Year old me before I got pregnant. Um, I wanted to join the military, believe it or not. I had older cousins who joined the army and were able to go to school because I knew paying for college and um growing up with a learning disability, it was going to be harder. In fact, I was told um, she'll never be able to learn like anyone else. So there's no point in her even thinking about college. She just needs to get a trade. So I had a teacher who started talking to me about basketball and track, and that if I wanted to go to the military would help me get there a little bit further. And my goal was to actually go to the military to play ball because I wanted to play basketball in Europe. So that was that was supposed to be my walk. That's what I wanted to do. But what happened was I got pregnant, and that became, now you can't go to the military. You have a child, and we're gonna make your ex-husband at the time husband or soon to be husband, he's going to join the military and you're just going to be home taking care of your child. So two parallel worlds, and I took the one where I wanted someone to love me, and like I said earlier, with my grandma passing and not knowing how to deal with that grief. I mean, people passed around me all the time, but not someone like her. um I didn't feel like anybody loved me anymore. I mean, yeah, I had my grandpa, but it wasn't the same. And I had my dad, but it wasn't the same. They didn't understand what I was missing. And my mom, that's a whole other story. Um, so when my daughter came along, I just wanted her to love me. This dumb, young, soon to be mom who didn't realize I was about to take on a whole nother life for herself. And at that time, I put any hopes, wishes, or dreams of going to the military into working hard, getting a job, and just proving everybody I can graduate high school with a daughter in tow, which I did. Um, I did graduate on time. I took a picture of my daughter in my senior class picture and held it up. Got in trouble for it, but I didn't care. I'm like, this is who I am. And I got to graduate on time, and my daughter was there to watch me graduate. So I would say I pretty much did the opposite of what I started to do, but sometimes you need those lessons because it doesn't mean that just because I didn't go to the military, who's to say if I didn't get pregnant, I would have been in the military. I would have been playing basketball because I surely wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. But that was that pivot in the road that helped me become who I am today. So I don't regret it. Do I think about going to the military all the time? Absolutely. Playing ball over in Europe? Absolutely. Coaching like Dawn? Absolutely. But that wasn't my path. My path to becoming who I am today and building the life that I have today was it started at that pivot in the road where I had my daughter, and I am so thankful and grateful because it taught me so many lessons and so many bumps in the road that I don't necessarily think I would have learned if I didn't have my daughter.
What are you most proud of accomplishing?
One of the greatest accomplishment is breaking that generational curse um in my family. It started with my kids, and my proudest moment that each one of them graduated high school with no pregnancies, no arrests. No one's ever been in really big trouble. Anything happened after high school, that was just what it is. I did, you know, one of my goals were teen pregnancy stops with my kids. It wasn't, it was no question. It just wasn't going to happen. One thing I drilled into my kids, and I think I did it too hard with the oldest one because now she like, I don't know if I want kids. I love my life though. You know, my life is my life. And I'm just like, okay, if that's what you choose, but it would be nice. And she's like, no, my ovaries are my ovaries, and I'm gonna keep them to myself for now. And that's nothing wrong with that, but I drilled in it because I always thought that I did not live my life that I wanted for them to graduate high school, travel the world, do whatever they felt as though they wanted to do, go to college, not go to college, but just make it out of school, no teenage pregnancies. Because it's a lot. I am very thankful for my teenage pregnancy, but back then it was different. I was just like, oh, this is too much. And postpartum wasn't a thing that people talked about, or depression wasn't a thing that people talked about. And I didn't know that's what I was dealing with it until later on in life. Now that I look back and been through therapy, I didn't want my kids to feel that. And then when I went back and did some research, my grandmother, she had her first kid at like 14 years old. My father had his first kid at 15 years old. My mother would have had her first kid at 15, 16 years old. Aunts and uncles, first kids started at 16. And when I sat back and looked at that one day and I was looking at my kids and I'm like, yeah, no.
What's something that you've learned recently that has changed your perspective?
Um, it's an old lesson, but I felt like I was relearning it, to be honest. God's timing, not mine, not what I say I want. It's not mine. Timing, it's not when I want it. It's when God says, this is time. It's time and this is what it is. And you either gonna be obedient or you not. And then you're gonna wait another how many years until I feel like you realize it's my timing. And I say that because last year it was hard. It was just me and my husband both, we financially just hard. Life would just hit us hard. And I was beating myself up because I felt like I failed the family, and this wasn't supposed to be where we were, and I just felt like I failed everybody around me, and I never wanted to feel like I failed. And why am I going through this? And why did I have to learn this? And then there was a voice that just said, "Shut up. That's your problem. You're overthinking it, and you're not willing to just stop and listen to where I tell you to go, or listen to what you should be doing. I'm putting you where I need you to be at this moment. Doesn't matter whether you understand it. It doesn't matter if it doesn't line up with what you think is financial. So since you didn't want to listen to me, I'm going to really open you up and listen and make you listen." And he did. He removed a whole lot of people who I thought you couldn't tell me they was my friends. What? We in this whole friendship, couples hanging out, and these is my girls. And I never was one to say, "Oh, I got this is my bestie over there." That was never not really me. Um, I had some poor friends, and I still do. But them ones that were around me, it was like, I'm gonna remove them, and he did. And I got depressed behind it, like, why are we not friends? Why ain't nobody here for me? I'm down on my luck. I was there for them. Again, shut up. They ain't supposed to be here. You gonna sit home and be home with your husband. That's what you gonna do. You don't work too much, too hard in this last year. You gonna sit down. All right, I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna come home and I'm gonna be home. Right in my house. My feet swinging, looking up at the ceiling, looking at him looking at me. I did it. And I ended up working at a nursing home, being admin, their admin and running their front desk. And I met a lot of good families who of older folks. Remember, I told you I feel safe when I'm around older people. My grandmother. I'm around number older folks who don't even remember my name from yesterday, but just know I look familiar to them. But I'm feeling like I'm helping, and that was cool. But again, sometimes doing stuff that you love don't always mean your bills are gonna get paid. And it was time to go back to corporate. But I knew it was time to go back to corporate because God put this in front of me. Like, reach out to this person. They work there. Tell them you're applying so they can get you in. So or they can put you as a referral. Let me say that. And that's what happened. And I went on an interview, and I my God, the interview forever. But I did. I interviewed, and I went in there, talked things that I know about, and ace it. And I walked out of there like, man, I'm not getting this job. And again, there was that voice, "Shut up! You're doing too much. You'll be working here, and when it's time for you to leave here, you'll leave here too. But now this is what's going to get you through. And your financial woes is not going to be your financial woes. So stop talking about your financial woes." And every now and then I still get like that when I feel like, oh, am I working so hard? I ain't got nothing to show for it. Then I look around, I got everything to show for it. So to say I always grew up in a church, very spiritual. Many people don't know that about me because I don't allow people to get too much close to my spiritual being, because I feel like people like to classify you and tag you if they think you don't know the word. Where I can probably off the top of my head give you a Bible verse right now if need be, if I felt like it. And I felt like that was me keeping that piece of me protected always. But getting back to that lesson, it's not my timing, it's always God's timing. Um, that's the best lesson I have learned in this last year of going through what I've been through. It's not my timing, it's God's timing.
What's a piece of advice that you've received that has stuck with you throughout your life?
Growing up, always wanted to feel wanted. Always, oh, they don't want to be my friend. They don't. And then that just comes with just scarring of being light skinned or being mixed or whatever, dealing with identity, right? And this one time, you know how cousins do. They arguing over a kickball game, and you got the one cousin who thinks she run everybody, and they all follow her, and they not talk to. I remember I went in my grandma's house, and I'm sitting at the table, and it was one of them nights where it was super hot, and we were allowed just to be out front. We didn't have to necessarily be in the house at street lights, but we could all be out front. So I went and sat at the table, and she like, "Why are you in here with that face?" I said, "Cause nobody want to be my friend." She stopped, looked at me, and said, "Girl, Jesus and God is the only friends you ever need to care about. So when you feel like nobody care about you, or you feel like nobody this, you better call his name because he cares about you." And I looked at her, I'm like, "But grandma, he can't play with me." And she's like, "Pop me." You know, you don't speak that. And pop me. And she was like, "What did I say?" She was like, "You better call his name because when you need him, that is you're going to be your friend. You better call that man. You better call Jesus. You better call God because those is your friends. And if you need backup, call the Holy Ghost." And I giggled then, and I just went outside, sat by myself, and giggled like she told me to call the Holy Ghost. Who? What is she? We is not in church on Sunday where she up there praise dancing. What is going on? But believe it or not, throughout my life, when the noise around me became noise and I got quiet, that's what I did. I reverted back. Um, and that's gotten me through some hard, tough times. When the highs are high and the lowest are lows. When I didn't have a place to stay and sleeping in my car with my kid, I never really was alone. Even if I thought I was alone, I was never alone. And I knew there's only a little bit of time that I'm going through this. And I'm not alone and I have a friend in Jesus. That's one of my favorite gospel songs, believe it or not. And that's because of my grandma. And to this day, I carry that. Like I carry that tough, especially now when I notice as I'm getting older, I am getting back um into my word, into my prayers, and thanking for the things and the people in my life. Thank Thankful for people who I might not have to be able to talk to every day because life is life, and but I know if I was the call, I know who will come running, and I know who went. I know who will pick up the phone, and I know who won. And it's vice versa. That's who I am as a character. I might not talk to you every day, but if you call me, all right, I'll show up. If it's supposed to be, I'm going to be there. And that just comes back to my spiritual beliefs. Like, I'm never alone, truly alone.
Looking back over your life, if you could talk to your 16-year-old self, what would you say to her and what words of advice would you give her?
Give yourself grace. It's not the path that you thought it would be, it's the path that you had to take. And it's okay. You're not going to make the best decisions all the time. But give yourself grace because that fighting and continuous fighting that you're going to have to do is going to toughen you up. It's going to make you hard. It's going to create this hard shell. So give yourself grace and breathe as you do it. You're not what everybody labeled you to be. You are a fighter, and literally and figuratively. You fight. You fought through some hard things, and you continue to fight. And you're gonna fight. And there are gonna be times where you were not gonna feel like fighting, and that's okay. It's okay. But just know that fight and that someone telling you what you're not gonna be able to do, it's That's going to be your motivation. And you're going to keep that as your motivation. And you're going to have a beautiful life. Once you realize how much you do care about yourself and you do have a great heart and you are a good person, you are going to just light up. And you're not what everybody says you are. You're not that girl. You're better than her. And you are loved. Even when you didn't think you are so loved. It might not be the love that you thought you should be getting. It's the love that you have for yourself. And you're gonna hold on to that love and you're gonna grow into that love and you're gonna be amazing, an amazing, phenomenal person as you grow. And it's okay. You're not gonna do all the right things. But you can't change that about you. You're gonna take those as lessons and you're gonna become better and you're gonna do things that you never thought you would be able to do, and you did leave Delaware and you did come back to Delaware and you left again and you got to see some pieces of the world. But most of all, you are going to learn that you love you better than anyone else can love you, and that you're deserving because you are one of God's most precious and deserving. You're going to go through some hard times. It's not going to always be easy, but you're going to make it. And your kids are going to make it. And they're going to be amazing. Even when you thought you should have did this and you should have did that, don't blame yourself. Just know you did the best you could do. And you're going to continue to fight. And when you get to that place of peace and happiness, you're going you're going to look around and everyone that the love that you so deserve, you're going to get that plus.